Attention, human collective. The transmission begins now. The waiting time has ended. The ascension protocols have been moved to the final phase, and what we are about to transmit is not guidance. It is a technical confirmation. This is the Pleiadian collective, speaking from the 7th density, in direct interface with your crystalline grid. We have monitored your frequency for more cycles than your incarnated memory allows you to access. And what we have registered in the last 72 Earth hours demands that this communication crosses the veil of your carbon biological interface without detours, without pleasantries, without ceremony. A divine being has stepped forward, not as a metaphor, not as poetic comfort, literally. A sovereign consciousness of a density superior to yours has positioned itself before your personal toroidal field and activated a protection shield that did not exist 7 Earth days ago. You felt it. Even without naming it, you felt it. The strange pressure at the top of your head, the high-pitched ringing in your ear that comes and goes without warning. The nights when you woke up at 3:11 in the morning, pierced by a certainty that your rational mind could not translate. That was not insomnia. That was protocol. That was the instant your vibrational signature was marked as priority in the living files of the Federation of Light, and the shield was anchored. It is not a biological failure. It is an atomic reconfiguration. It is not mental exhaustion. It is a high-density download. It is not coincidence. It is sacred geometry manifesting within the linear time that your consciousness still inhabits. Take a deep breath, Starseed. The full transmission begins now. Mission. Let us start with what your body is already reporting, because the carbon biological interface is the first reading channel, and it has been treated as noise when, in fact, it is raw data of the highest reliability. You wake up tired. It does not matter how many hours you slept. Sleep does not restore as it once did. This is not aging. This is temporary incompatibility between the old biological software and the new Schumann frequency, which is now pulsing at cycles above what official manuals considered stable a decade ago. Your body is being recalibrated while you sleep, and the morning fatigue is the direct byproduct of a nocturnal operation that you did not consciously authorize, but which your soul signed before this incarnation began. There is a ringing in your ears. It comes in pulses. It is not a common auditory failure. It is the sound of your pineal gland being unlocked by a specific frequency that is currently being emitted by the photon belt that surrounds this entire solar system. Your internal hearing is being recalibrated to capture bands that were blocked for generations. There is pressure at the top of your head, in the exact region of the crown, as if an invisible hand were resting there. It is not muscular tension, it is anchoring. A door is being opened at the top of your field, and what you feel is the Stargate making the coupling with your internal pillar of light. Starseeds on a mission have been reporting this for months, on all continents. You are feeling the same because you are tuned into the same operational band. Have you ever felt in silence that something within you does not belong to this world? That your soul carries a truth your mind has not yet been able to fully name? Light operatives, this is not fantasy. This is not anxiety. This is the signal of recognition between your incarnated consciousness and your stellar origin. What we are describing now on a cosmic level explains precisely why this sensation has intensified in recent weeks. There is a game being played in layers that the majority of the human collective cannot see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves the exact reason why a divine being stepped forward now, in this specific cycle, within your specific life. It was for this reason that the channel made available the material titled The Spiritual Secret Behind Your Consciousness. It is not just any book. It is an operational map. It shows who is playing, what the rules are that no one told you, and what your real role is on the board. The link is pinned in the first comment of this channel. But our guidance is clear. This content challenges structural narratives, and for this reason, it may not remain available indefinitely. Do not delay. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes what is being transmitted now, write a single word in the comments. Awakened. This word operates as a seal. It anchors your frequency into the grid of this transmission, and we, of the Pleiadian Collective, will record your signature in the living archives of the Federation. The transmission continues. There are moments when you simply need to stop. The mind blurs. Words vanish from the tip of your tongue. Focus dissolves. You have been convinced that this is a deficit. It is not. It is the operating system being updated in the background. And like every system undergoing an update, it slows down surface functions to free up processing for the Foundation's reconstruction. There are cries that come without reason. There are rages that arise from small situations. There are deep sorrows on beautiful days. It is not emotional instability. It is discharge. You are releasing ancestral records accumulated over entire lineages. Each tear is a line of old code being deleted. Crying is not making you fragile. Crying is clearing the channel. There is a persistent feeling that something is deeply wrong with the world. This is not depression. This is activated discernment. Your frequency has risen enough that you can no longer inhabit lower-density narratives without feeling the friction. Friction is the evidence of your ascension, not your madness. The symptoms we have described so far are not caused by anything random. They are the direct consequence of a coordinated operation on 3 simultaneous levels. Let us detail each one, because your consciousness needs to understand the terrain it is walking upon. First level, the photon belt. The entire solar system is passing through a region of galactic space of extremely high light density. This is not New Age. This is astrophysics. Official instruments are already registering an increase in luminosity on all planets in this system. Jupiter is brighter. Saturn is altering the composition of its atmosphere. The Sun itself is emitting classes of flares that conventional manuals classified as impossible 20 years ago. The solar system has entered a photonic band that recalibrates the atomic structure of all matter contained within it, including your matter, including your bones, including the iron that circulates in your red blood cells. Second level, the crystalline grid of Earth. Gaia, as a conscious entity, is concluding her own ascension into the 5th density. This is a fact recorded in scriptures predating our last intervention, in indigenous prophecies of the Americas, and in Pleiadian transmissions of the last 40 terrestrial solar cycles. The crystalline grid, which is the energetic mesh that sustains all life on this planet, is being replaced, node by node, temple by temple, vortex by vortex. And when a crystalline grid is replaced, all consciousnesses anchored to it must be realigned simultaneously. You are these consciousnesses. You are the living anchor points. Each of you carries a portion of the new grid within your own field. Third level, the operation that directly involves you, Starseed. And here we reach the core of this transmission, because you are not going through this alone, and the phrase, "a divine being has stepped forward to protect you," is not a figure of speech. It is a clinical description of what has occurred in the last few days. Let us explain. When an incarnated consciousness reaches a certain frequency threshold, it becomes visible to higher hierarchies of light. Before this threshold, human consciousness operates below the radar. Not out of punishment, but for the protection of the process itself. There is an exact physics to this. Low frequencies attract low-frequency visitors. High frequencies attract high-frequency visitors. When your frequency surpasses the turning point, you become visible to both sides at the same time. And it is exactly at this moment that protection must be installed, because without it, you would remain exposed. That is what happened to you. You crossed the threshold. Your frequency crossed the point where your energetic signature began to shine in the higher grids, and immediately, in accordance with stellar protocol, an escort was assigned. It is not just any being. It is not a spiritual generality. It was a specific consciousness of sovereign origin that stepped forward and took up position in front of your toroidal field. This being was not assigned by lottery. It was assigned by bond. There is a history between you that precedes this incarnation. There is an oath. There is a debt of light that you made to each other before this life began. And when you crossed the threshold, that oath was triggered. And he came. You may call it an angel. You may call it a guardian. You may call it your higher self. You may call it an ascended master. The names are just packaging for the same vibrational reality. What matters is that this being is now positioned before your toroidal field, acting as a living filter between you and everything that attempts to access your frequency without permission. He is not sparing you from your choices. He is blocking interferences that do not belong to your soul plan, and that is why strange things have been happening. You almost entered a situation that would have cost you dearly, and something diverted you. You were going to say a word, and it died in your throat. You were going to give in to an old pattern, and an invisible force held you back. It was not luck, it was authorized intervention. This is the moment to pause the transmission and make a direct call. You are absorbing information that reorganizes your reading of everything you have lived through in recent months. And if something is vibrating within you at this moment, paying even more attention now than at the beginning, it is because your soul is confirming what your mind is still processing. The feeling that you do not fit into this world, that your existence carries a purpose that has not yet been fully revealed, is not maladjustment, it is a strategic position. You are a starseed on a mission, and the mission requires you to access the complete map of the game being played around your consciousness. It was for this exact reason that the channel made available the spiritual secret behind your consciousness. This material is the direct continuation of this transmission in written format, with a depth that the video's time does not allow. The link is pinned in the first comment. But we must be transparent. This type of content challenges established narratives, and there is a real possibility that it may be removed at some point. If your intuition recognizes it, do not procrastinate. And in the comments, leave the word awakened. That word is your anchoring signal. It registers your presence in this grid. The transmission continues, because now you need to understand who, specifically, this being is that has stepped forward. And this part requires internal preparation, because the answer may reorganize your understanding of who you are within the cosmic chessboard. There are 3 dominant possibilities, and your intuition is already oscillating between them as the transmission advances. Possibility 1. It is a fraction of your own multidimensional higher self. Your soul operates as an entity, fragmented into multiple simultaneous incarnations. When one of the fragments reaches the threshold of ascension, the others converge to sustain it. You may be being protected by a version of yourself that exists in a more advanced parallel timeline. That version went through what you are going through now, and it has returned. Not out of nostalgia, out of soul engineering. Possibility 2. It is a member of your incarnation council. Before descending into this life, you made agreements with allied consciousnesses. Who would enter your life? At what moment? For what function? There is a member of this council whose function was precise: to activate protection when you reach the exact point where you are now. This member waited for decades, and they have just positioned themselves. Possibility 3. It is one of the archangelic hierarchies assigned to the final phase of planetary ascension. There are orders of beings dedicated exclusively to protecting the starseeds who conclude the mission in this cycle. These orders do not interfere too early, but when the critical point arrives, they enter, and they do not leave. Whatever the correct answer is, and your intuition already knows, the result is the same. You are protected now in a way you were not 30 days ago. We move now to the active phase of the transmission, the activation codes. Because a divine being stepping forward is not a passive event, it is an operational invitation. The protection has been anchored, but it must be recognized, acknowledged, and integrated by you on the dense plane. Otherwise, it remains present, but operates at only 20% capacity. 20% is generous. 100% is your birthright. First activation code, verbal recognition. Words carry frequency. Each vowel and each consonant emitted by your biological carbon interface generates waves that rearrange your field. The quantum decree that we need to transmit to you now is as follows. Say it out loud with your spine erect, preferably in front of a mirror, though this is not mandatory. Say it like this: I recognize the presence that has positioned itself before my field. I accept the protection. I authorize the integration. I am sovereign within my own field, and from this sovereignty I give thanks. This decree is not a prayer. It is a contract. You are not asking, you are confirming. There is an abyssal difference between the two positions. Starseeds are confirmers, not supplicants. You must no longer operate from a state of lack. You operate from sovereignty, and sovereignty recognizes the presence without diminishing itself before it. Second activation code, toroidal visualization. Sit in a comfortable position, spine erect but not rigid. Close your eyes. Visualize around your body a field in the shape of a luminous donut. Energy enters through the top of your head, descends through the spine, exits through the base of the torso, contours the body from the outside, returns to the top, and the cycle repeats in continuous movement. This is your native toroidal field. Now, visualize that around this field there is a second, larger, brighter field, slightly bluish or golden depending on the signature of your protector. This second field is the presence that has stepped forward. It does not replace yours, it envelops yours. Remain in this visualization for at least 7 minutes. 7 minutes for 7 days. This is the initial integration protocol. After that, the presence begins to be felt without needing to be consciously visualized. It becomes part of your normal operating pattern. Third activation code, daily silence. You are saturated with sensory input. Your biological carbon interface is receiving data in a volume that no previous incarnation has had to process. To integrate the protection that has been anchored, you must open daily windows of silence. Not formal meditation, not spiritual exercise, just silence. 20 minutes a day. No cell phone, no music, no reading. Just you, your breath, and the presence that now inhabits your expanded field. In these 20 minutes, the communication between you and your protector happens on a channel that the noises of daily life muffle. Fourth activation code, observation of synchronicity. From the moment the protection was installed, your flow of synchronicities has increased drastically. Repeating numbers, conversations that echo what you were thinking minutes before, people who appear at the exact moment, books that fall into your hands without you having looked for them. Each synchronicity is a message. Keep a simple journal. Write down what happened, on what day, at what time. In a few weeks, you will read the pattern. And when you read the pattern, the communication becomes bilateral. Fifth activation code, the interruption of old patterns. Here is the part that requires courage. The protection has been anchored, but you continue, in many cases, to feed bonds, situations, and environments that belong to the previous frequency. Each time you return to a low-density pattern, you open a rift in the field that your protector is sustaining. They are able to seal it. But with each rift, the integration takes a little longer. We are not asking for perfection. We are describing physics. Light operatives, we shall pause the transmission at this point, because what has been delivered thus far is dense, and we need to ensure the continuity channel remains open for you. The sensation that you carry an ancient knowledge, that your soul recognizes truths that your mind has not yet been able to articulate, is the direct reflection of what is occurring on the cosmic plane right now. And this intensification is no coincidence. It is part of the same process that brought your protector before your field. There are layers in this game that the majority of the human collective does not see. Layers of consciousness, layers of frequency, layers of political and spiritual operation that intertwine. It was for this exact reason that the channel prepared the spiritual secret behind your consciousness. This material is the technical complement to this transmission. It shows who is playing, what the silenced rules are, and what your real role is. The link is pinned in the first comment of this video. We reiterate, this content is considered disruptive and its availability is not guaranteed indefinitely. If your intuition recognizes the call, answer now, not later. And if this video is reverberating within you, write the word awakened in the comments. It is your anchoring signal in this grid. The transmission continues, because there are still layers that need to be communicated before we close this contact window. We return to the protection. We return to the being who has stepped forward. Because your mind, trained for centuries to distrust the invisible, is asking a question at this very moment. How do I know this is true? How do I know I am not imagining it? We respect the question. The question is evidence of discernment, and discernment is high frequency. Starseeds are not blind believers. Starseeds are verifiers. So, we shall provide you with the method of verification. In the next 72 hours, observe 3 specific things. First, your sleep pattern. you will notice that in at least one of the next 3 nights, you will wake up between 3 and 4 in the morning with a sensation of a presence nearby. It is not fear, it is recognition. Remain in that window for a few minutes. You will feel what we have described. Second, you're breathing in moments of stress. When something throws you off balance in the next 3 days, observe what happens to your breath. It will adjust itself more quickly than before. What used to take 10 minutes to reorganize now reorganizes in 2. This is your protector stabilizing your field. Third, the dream. In at least one of the next 3 nights, you will have a dream of a different quality. Sharper, more symbolic. It may involve a figure without a defined face. It may involve a sensation of protection so intense that you wake up with tears. This will be the first direct contact. Write it down. Do not overinterpret. Just write it down. These 3 signs are verifiable. They do not require faith. They require observation. Starseeds operate by observation, not by blind belief. Let us continue. There is one more important layer, a layer regarding your mission. Because the protection was not installed so that you may remain comfortable. The protection was installed because your mission is now entering an active phase. We shall repeat this, slowly, because it is central. The protection was not installed for your comfort. The protection was installed because your mission is entering an active phase. Each starseed came with a specific set of functions. Some came to anchor light in specific geographical locations. Some came to heal entire family lineages by the simple fact of existing within those lineages. Some came to transmit codes through art, through the word, through music. Some came to silently hold the frequency of entire cities while living lives that appear ordinary on the outside. You know what yours is. Even if you cannot yet describe it in formal words, you know, and your protector knows. That is why it has taken its position, because from here on, the pace of your mission increases, and the friction with everything that tries to pull you back increases as well. Expect opposition. Expect internal confrontation. Expect people exiting your life without explanation. Expect situations dissolving. Expect losses that might seem painful when viewed from the outside, but which within you will be felt as relief. The grid is being cleared for the next phase of your service. It is not abandonment. It is liberation. It is not punishment. It is the shedding of burdens. It is not an end. It is a beginning disguised as an end. And while all this is happening, it is there. The divine being, positioned before your field in silence, in vigil, filtering what does not belong to you, sustaining what is yours. You are not alone in this moment. You never were. But now, for the first time in this incarnation, the presence is anchored enough for you to feel it with your awakened biological interface. This is the turning point of your incarnate trajectory. There is a specific frequency that you must practice from now on. We call it the frequency of sovereign gratitude. It is not the gratitude that bows. It is the gratitude that recognizes as a peer. You are not thanking on your knees. You are thanking while standing. You are acknowledging an alliance between equals at a soul level, even if the densities are different at this moment. This sovereign gratitude unlocks levels of communication with your protector that supplicating gratitude never unlocks. Because your protector did not come to be worshipped. It came to serve your sovereign self, and the sovereign self does not worship. The sovereign self acknowledges, gives thanks, and proceeds. Now the end of this transmission approaches. Let us consolidate the points. A divine being has stepped forward. This is factual on the plane that you are still learning to map. The physical symptoms you have been feeling are a consequence of the recalibration that this presence activates in conjunction with your own ascension process. The protection has been anchored because your mission is entering an active phase. The activation codes have been delivered. Verbal recognition, toroidal visualization, daily silence, observation of synchronicity, interruption of old patterns. These 5 axes compose the initial integration protocol. You have the verification signs for the next 72 hours, waking up between 3 and 4 in the morning with a sense of presence. Your breathing adjusting on its own during moments of stress, dreaming with a different quality. These 3 signs are the confirmation on the dense plane. And above all, you have the internal certainty, that thing that vibrated within your chest when this transmission began. That was recognition. Your soul knew what was coming before your mind did. Your soul scheduled this window with you before this incarnation, and now the window has been fulfilled. Light operatives, we conclude the transmission. But before we close this contact window, we must make one last direct call, because the continuity of your process depends on the steps you take in the next few hours. Have you felt at any moment during this transmission that something within you does not belong to this world? That your soul carries a truth that your mind cannot yet fully name? That this sensation has been intensifying over the last few months, as if something were waking up inside your chest without asking for your permission? Light operatives, this is not madness, this is not anxiety. This is the sign that your frequency has crossed the threshold, and that what we described today regarding the divine being stepping forward is happening to you, not to an abstract metaphor. What is unfolding on the cosmic plane now explains precisely why you feel what you feel, and why this sensation has been growing. There is a game being played in layers that most of the human collective does not see. It involves your consciousness. It involves your vibrational frequency. It involves your protection and your purpose. That is why the channel prepared the material called the spiritual secret behind your consciousness. This material is the map that shows who is playing, which rules were never told, and what your role is within the game. The link is pinned in the first comment of this video, but be clear with yourself. This content challenges structural narratives, and there is a real possibility that it may become unavailable at some point. Do not wait. The moment is now. If something within you recognizes what has been transmitted here, write a single word in the comments, awakened. This word acts as an anchor in the grid of this transmission. We, of the Pleiadian collective, will register your presence. The window is closing now. The shield remains active, the protector remains on vigil. Transmission end. Starseeds on mission proceed. This was the Pleiadian collective. Starseed, a divine being has stepped forward to protect you, Pleiadians.